Welcome back to this session. So in this session, we are going to see about transistor biasing and its types. So for a transistor operation, we should know the condition, that is, the emitter base junction should be forward biased and the collector base junction should be at reverse bias. Then only the transistor will operate in an active region. For the transistor operation, we already studied the base emitter junction is forward biased and the collector base junction should be at reverse bias. So in that, this is the input bias voltage, DC voltage. This is VCC, output bias voltage. For an amplifier means the amplifier amplifies a weak signal. So for an amplifier, if we give a AC signal in the transistor input side, so the AC side input consists of both positive and negative half cycles. So during positive half cycle, the base emitter junction is forward biased, so it will conduct, so the output has positive half cycle. During negative half cycle, the base emitter junction is reverse bias, the transistor will not operate, so the reverse bias is cut off. The output has only positive cycle only. So in an unbiased transistor, if we give an AC signal to the input, then we can get only positive output. So this is called unfaithful amplification. So we are giving AC consists of both positive and negative, but in output we can get only positive only. So this is called unfaithful amplification. But the faithful amplification, the definition is the process of raising the strength of a weak signal without change in its general shape is called faithful amplification. The shape or originality of the signal should not be modified. So this is called faithful amplification. So if any biasing or element additional circuit is not there, means the transistor will amplify only positive cycle. The transistor will not conduct for a negative cycle. So to overcome this problem, we are going for biasing. So what we are going to do is, so here we are raising the input signal by applying an DC. So a DC VBB is applied in the input side, so that the input positive cycle is positive, also the negative cycle also positive. So during the output side, so the waveform shape is not modified, so but here there is one DC, input side also we are applying one DC, output side also we have one DC, but the positive cycle also positive and the negative cycle also positive. So this input DC is called zero signal base current. So this dotted line or also in output side is called zero signal collector current. So this zero signal collector current is obtained by giving zero signal base current. So because beta common emitter current gain is equal to IC divided by IB. So if we want the zero signal collector current like this, we are in need to apply a zero signal base current. So for a faithful amplification, we should satisfy the following conditions. What are they is, we should maintain the proper zero signal collector current. Already we studied, this is the 1 milliamps is the zero signal collector current. So and then we should maintain the minimum proper base emitter voltage at any instant. Also we should maintain minimum proper collector emitter voltage at any instant. Suppose we are in need of 1 milliamps at zero signal condition for a collector current. Suppose we are giving 0.5 means the positive cycle is fully available and half of the negative cycle is cut off due to the insufficient zero signal collector current. So to satisfy the faithful amplification, we should follow these three conditions. So we should give the proper zero signal collector current. How we are giving means we should give the proper base current accordingly, because beta is equal to IC by IB. Suppose we want the zero signal collector current IC, so zero signal base current IB is equal to IC divided by beta. So then the second is proper zero signal base emitter voltage. We already have any PN junction, if the voltage is less than the threshold voltage, that is 0.6 or germanium mean 0.3, and here it's 0.5. Germanium material, we are in need of 0.3 volt. For silicon it is 0.6 to 0.7. After that only the semiconductor will conduct. So the base emitter voltage will always greater than 0.7 volt. Also the collector emitter voltage should be greater than 1 volt at any instant. It should not fall below 0.7 volt of VBE or 1 volt of VCE. So these are three conditions. We are in need of proper zero signal collector current. It is achieved by the proper zero signal base current, and we are in need of proper zero signal base emitter voltage and proper zero signal collector emitter voltage. So to calculate the proper value of collector current ICEQ, so the proper zero signal collector current ICEQ, how we are calculating is using load line and operating point. So what is operating point means? The proper collector current as well as collector emitter voltage at zero signal condition to operate the transistor at active region throughout the entire passage of signal is called operating point. So the maintenance of proper IC and VCE at zero signal condition is called operating point. So the proper IC can be obtained by proper base current IB at zero signal condition, because this IC is equal to beta into IB. So in general the operating point is IC and VCE at signal zero condition. So next we are going to see about load line. Why we are going to study about DC load line and operating point means we are going to calculate the proper value of VCE and IC from this analysis. So this is a common emitter configuration. This is the input voltage VBB, this is the output voltage VCC, RC is the output resistance, RB is the input resistance. So in common base characteristics, this is the output characteristics waveform, so drawn between VC and IC. So if the input current, base current is 0, the waveform is like this. So if the IB is 0 means, then the collector current is negligible, it is almost 0. Very small amount of current only flow due to the minority carriers called leakage current. And further, if the base current is increased, so that the IC also increased, so this corresponding input output characteristics are shown in like this. So if the base current is 0, then collector current is almost 0. So this point is called cutoff point. This region is called cutoff region. If the base current is maximum and the collector current is also maximum, so it is very close to the line of IC. So this region is called saturation region. This point is called saturation. This point is called saturation point. This region is called saturation region. So in single word, if the transistor is not being conducted, then the value of IC and VC is in cutoff region. If the transistor is fully conducting means, the value of IC and VC is at saturation point. So in this output characteristics we are having 2 points, one is cutoff point, another one is saturation point. So what is DC load line means? A line drawn between cutoff point and saturation point in the output characteristics of transistor is called DC load line. So this is the output characteristics. In that output characteristics, a line is drawn. One point is cutoff point. In that cutoff point, IC is 0 and VCE is equal to VCC. And this is the saturation point. In that saturation point, the VCE is equal to 0 and IC is equal to VCC by RC. So line drawn between cutoff and saturation point is called DC load line. So this is the output characteristics of a transistor. So we are going to calculate the proper zero signal base current or zero signal collector current. If you are giving zero signal base current means it will automatically flow the required amount of zero signal collector current, because IC is equal to beta into IB. So suppose the operating point, for that operating point we are in need of the base current IB. So the IB values here means, that is in cutoff region means, the IB can be increased in the graph, and also IC can be increased, but IB and IC cannot be decreased. If the IB and IC is here, then the IB can be decreased and the IB and IC cannot be increased and further, so that the proper value of the zero signal collector current as well as base current will be obtained. The operating point should be at the middle of the load line. So that is, if the operating point, that is zero signal collector current and the zero signal collector emitter voltage is here means, if the IB can be increased further and also IB can be decreased further. So during increasing IB, so the IC will increase. During the decreasing IB, the IC will decrease. So the operating point for any faithful amplification or to operate the transistor at active region, so the operating point should be available at the middle of the load line here. So the middle of the load line, so that we should draw the DC load line. The DC load line is drawn in the output characteristics. The one point is cutoff point, another point is saturation point. In cutoff point, this VC is equal to VCC and IC is equal to 0. In saturation point, IC is equal to VCC by RC and VC is equal to 0. So this is a necessary of DC load line. So we have obtained the zero signal collector current as well as the zero signal base current using this DC load line. So in biasing, what we are going to do is, we are going to apply a DC voltage in the input side, so that the input voltage is biased like this. So the positive is positive, negative is also positive. Similarly, in the output side, positive cycle is positive and also negative side is also, we are getting positive. So the unwanted DC can be removed by simply connecting a capacitor. So this round portions which is mentioned in red color is called biasing element. So this biasing element only used for the transistor for faithful amplification. So the commonly used transistor biasing are the four different methods: base resistor method, collector feedback method, emitter feedback method, and voltage divider bias. The four different type of biasing are used. So before going to the four methods, we should know the stabilization and factors affecting the operating point. So as the temperature increases, the value of the collector base leakage current and beta and the VBE gets affected. So due to the temperature, these parameters are affected. For example, this ICB naught, the collector to base leakage current, gets doubled for every 10 degree Celsius. Similarly, the VBE decreases by 2.5 millivolt for every 1 degree Celsius. So this IC in single word, the leakage current as well as the base emitter voltage will depending upon the temperature. So in most of the time, the temperature variations will be in plus or minus 20 degree. So the process of making operating point independent of temperature changes or variations in transistor parameters also stabilization. So the leakage current as well as the base emitter voltage is changing depending upon the temperature. So we are going to compensate these variations. The stabilization of the operating point has to be achieved due to the following reasons. The first reason is temperature dependence of IC, individual variations and thermal runaway. So we are going to see one by one. Temperature dependence of IC. So in general, simple expression, IC is equal to beta into IB. This is enough one. But by considering the leakage current, it is IC is equal to beta into IB plus ICE naught, collector to emitter leakage current. So this can be written as beta plus 1 into collector to base leakage current. So we already saw the collector to base leakage current gets doubled for every 10 degree Celsius. So this ICB naught gets increased 2 times for 10 degree Celsius, double time, and it is multiplied by beta plus 1. Generally the beta value of a transistor ranges from 100 to 500. So it should be a notable one. So this collector current is greatly influenced by the collector base leakage current as well as beta. So we should compensate this effect. Then individual variations. What is individual variations means? As the value of beta and the value of VB is not same for all transistors. For every transistor has small variations in beta as well as small variations in VBE. So whenever a transistor replaced due to a fault, the operating point tends to change. Hence it is necessary to stabilize the operating point. And what is thermal runaway? We have already seen the equation. IC is equal to beta into IB plus beta plus 1 into ICB naught. Note that the beta ranges from 100 to 500. So if due to the temperature, if the ICB naught is increased, so IC also increased. So if the IC is increased, then the junction temperature will increase. If the junction temperature will increase means again the ICB naught will increase. This process is cumulative one, so that the transistor will burn out. The self-destruction of such an unstabilized transistor is known as thermal runaway. So we have to compensate this temperature effect. So the stability factor, by the definition, the rate of change of collector current IC with respect to collector leakage current IC naught at constant beta and IB is called stability factor. So this collector change in collector current with respect to collector leakage current has to be minimized, so that only the circuit has greater stability against the previous three categories. One is individual variations, thermal runaway, and the temperature dependence of IC. So the general equation of S is equal to DIC divided by DIC naught. So we are having this equation, collector equation. This is called output current equation of transistor. IC is equal to beta into IB plus beta plus 1 into IC naught. By differentiating this equation and simplifying means, we can get the common expression for the stability factor. S is equal to beta plus 1 divided by beta minus 1 into DIB divided by DIC. We are going to see the first method of the biasing, base bias. So the base bias, the required amount of zero signal base current is obtained by a base resistor. A resistor is connected between base and supply voltage VCC. The required amount of zero signal base current is obtained from this RB using this VCC. So this is IB is called zero signal. Here the signal is not applied. So this IB is called zero signal base current. Then the zero signal collector current can be obtained by this IB value. So this is a circuit diagram for simple base bias or base resistor method or fixed bias. So using this circuit, we are forming several equations. So you already know this equation. IB is equal to IC into beta, because beta is equal to IC divided by IB. Then apply a KVL to two sides. One is input side and another one is output side. So apply here is VCC is equal to, here the voltage drop across is equal to IB into RB. This voltage is equal to base, this is emitter, so this is VBE. Similarly in the load side, so VCC is equal to, here the current is IC, collector current, and resistance equal to RC. IC, RC, here the voltage is VCE. So these two equations are important for calculating the IC, VCE, RB, IB. So we can calculate all the value from these equations. So using this first equation, we can calculate the RB value. RB is equal to VCC minus VBE divided by IB. So we have the generalized expression for the stability factor. S is equal to beta plus 1 divided by 1 minus beta into DIB divided by DIC. DIB divided by DIC is equal to the change in base current with respect to collector current. Here the base current is independent of IC. IC is here, IB is here. So there is no relation between IC and IB. So this change in base current with respect to change in collector current is equal to 0 in that bias. So there is no relation between IC and IB. So here the value is 0. So the stability factor S is equal to beta plus 1. So we are already aware that the beta values ranges from 100 to 500. So the stability factor will be a very high one. So it has poor stability one. So the advantage, disadvantages of base bias is listed here. So the advantage is simple circuit one, but the disadvantage is poor stability. So the S values ranges from beta plus 1. So we are going to increase the stability of the transistor. That is done by the feedback method. One feedback is called collector feedback and another feedback is called emitter feedback. First we are going to see about the collector feedback. So in the previous case, the stability is poor because the IC is independent of IB or IB is independent of IC. So here the resistance RB is connected in this point. So here the current flow, the RL is equal to IB plus IB. So there is a relation between IC and IB which improves the stability of the transistor. So here similarly we are applying KVL for both sides. Here IC into RL plus IB plus RB, IB plus RB plus VBE is equal to VCC. Similarly, the equation in the output side, VCC is equal to IC plus IB into RL plus VCE. So from this equation, we can calculate the RB value as well as IB value by simplifying the equations. So from this, we can calculate the value of RB and IB by some simple simplification process. In this collector feedback bias, so the stability factor of the circuit is S is equal to 1 plus beta divided by 1 plus beta into RL divided by RL plus RB. So here 1 plus beta divided by 1 plus beta in the denominator, it is multiplied by RL divided by RL plus RB. It is definitely less than 1 plus beta. So here this value is smaller than 1 plus beta, which is obtained from the fixed bias. So there is an improvement of the stability over the fixed bias circuit. The third type is emitter feedback resistor method. So here also we are having one more resistance, emitter resistance, which is connected between emitter and ground. So here this emitter resistance involved both the output side as well as input side. So this is KVL equations. So from this KVL equations, we have obtained the value of RB and the value of IB. So using these equations, we can calculate either of the value VCE, IC and IE, etc. So in this emitter feedback method also, the stability factor S is equal to 1 plus beta divided by 1 plus beta into RE divided by RE plus RB. So the value is smaller than 1 plus beta, which is obtained from the fixed bias circuit. So there is an improvement of stability over the fixed bias circuit. Next, the final method is potential divider method. In this method, the potential dividing arrangement is being done by the resistance R1 and R2. the current flowing through the R1 is I1, the current flowing to the R2 is I2. Then the value of IBC can be calculated by using I1 and I2. So here the value of voltage at the point A is called Thevenin's voltage. This voltage is called V2 also. This V2 is VBE and IE into RE. Similarly, by applying a KVL at here, so the VCS is equal to IC into RC plus VCE and IE into RE. But IC is approximately equal to IE, so that we commonly take it as IC, and inside the bracket the value of RC and RE. So using this expression we can calculate VC value like this. The stability factor is calculated that the S is equal to 1 in this method. So this is the smallest possible value of S, and it leads maximum possible thermal stability. So this method is more popular one because it has more stable